Hi, my name is Roger. I'm a scientist living in Montreal, and welcome to my channel, Celulin, Science for Everyone. Okay, so today we're going to talk about model organisms. According to Wikipedia, a model organism is a non-human species that help scientists to understand biological processes. So, what? There are processes that are really complex. We could not understand them if we only focus on working with human cells. So what we do is we use organisms that they have a lower degree of complexity. They are easy to manipulate and they are easy for us to understand. So I'm going to try to explain cell division discoveries, and I will compare it to the career of a Formula 1 driver. The first step to understand why a cell becomes cancerous is understand how the DNA is copied. So back in the days, they decided to use E. coli to understand DNA replication because it was simple. Because you wanted to answer a really complex question and you needed a simple model. Imagine that we want to know if our kid likes velocity. You are not going to put it in a Formula 1. You will put it in a tricycle. And if he enjoys, he loves velocity, then maybe you will move forward. So with bacteria, we learn how DNA is copied. And now we want to know how DNA is divided between the mother cell and the daughter cell. We cannot do this with bacteria because it's too far from human cells. So we used budding yeast, the yeast that is used for beer and for bread. And with this, we find which molecular machineries, which enzymes were involved. Enzymes that are conserved in human cells. The analogy of a driver would be that we see that our kid enjoys the tricycle. So he will go karting and then we will see, oh wow, he loves overtaking, he loves velocity, he's really good at taking corners. We are going one step at a time. Okay, so now we want to know how the cells divide in a tissue, like in our body. But the problem is that we cannot use budding yeast because budding yeast is a unicellular organism. So we need to look for another model organism that has tissues but is not as complex as human. So we have alternative. We have worms like C. elegans, or we have the fruit flies like Drosophila melanogaster. And with this we can explore how cells divide in a tissue. So our kid is really good at karting, but we want to really know if he can have a career on that. We enroll our kid in a Formula 3000, in a Formula 3 championship, because he's really good. We will be able to know if he can drive, but it's much less complex than a Formula 1. Going back to biology. Now we know how DNA replicates, how it's copied, how DNA is divided between the mother and the daughter, and how the cells, when divided, organize in a tissue. But now we want to know what's the three-dimensional structure of a tumor. So we need another model organism. We use mice. They are mammals, they are similar to us, and we can understand how the cells go from being healthy to form a tumor. Going back to the analogy. Our kid is winning the Formula 3000, the Formula 3, the Formula 2. So now he's ready to take the final challenge. He's ready to test a Formula 1. Biological science has done the same path as anyone who's learning does. We start with the simple, less complex organisms, and then we accumulate a lot of knowledge, and then we can start to solve problems with more complex organisms. I hope that this really long video has helped you understand why do we need model organisms.